Hey, what do you know? They let me go live on computer tonight. So here we are, guys. Wednesday night, midweek. A lot of people like to call it something. I don't call it that. I never have believed in that day. I believe if you're going to use that word, you use it for something else. This show is not meant for children. They can watch it under the discrepancy of their mom and dad, their grandparents, or their legal guardians. Good to see Janet jump back up there on the first one on tonight. She'd been faltering a little bit there, and I was about ready to have a talk with her. But hello, Janet. Hello, Richard. Hello, Bill. What a lot, Justin, good, Ian, Tony. Good to see everyone here. Family Channel. Jana's here. A lot of great people, a lot of great family members here. And that's what I consider us here, guys. I consider us family. Now, I'm in a pretty good mood tonight. I wish there was more of me, I really do, because, it's funny because, when it comes to women, I've never, what you could call, really been the luckiest guy in the world. I guess I was always looking for love in all the wrong places, but I was chatting with this lady. And I got really busy because I was babysitting him. I'm running and doing other things. And it got to for like a 2 or 3 day period. 24 hours a day wasn't enough for me, but I did the best I could. And this lady who I had met, she wanted to talk online and she wanted to chat. And I just wasn't getting online. I was doing other things, taking care of people who needed my help. And she yelled at me one day online and she left me a message. And she says, I've been here. You can't tell me you don't have 30 seconds to at least say hi. You don't have time when you're on during the day just to come in and say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't talk. I'm really busy. Just let me know that you acknowledge that I'm here. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? Does she sit on the computer? It kind of got creepy, So today I had a little time. I was babysitting the monkey and she was in doing something and I was walking, and I use voice activation when I walk, when I'm talking on sending messages. So I sent her a nice message. And anybody who knows me, Janet, you've received messages from me. Other people, Papa G, good to see you here. People who's received messages from me knows I have a tendency to ramble. And I write long messages because I use voice activation. So I'm not doing all that typing and I'm not taking a lot of time, but it's something that I do. So I wrote her a long message and I get a message back from her about 4 hours later. Could you break your messages down into shorter messages? You write too much. What I say, I'm looking for things in all the wrong places, but it doesn't matter because I just wanted to be friends with her, just someone to chat with on occasions. But guys, I'm gonna say the pledge, and I'm gonna play the music. I'm gonna talk to the kids when I come back, and we're gonna do the show. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I really don't, because it's hard to prepare for a show when you don't know if you're gonna have access to the computer, or if you're gonna do it on the phone. But we're gonna put something together. I got some good news. Some people might say, "Well, it's the same old thing," and you know what? You're probably right. So I'll agree with you. So let's get this show going. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Things were gone. I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt There you go. You can like I don't know if it's switching to different. You can switch it for you. And then switching the hand comes up. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I just started getting in the back and she said, wait a minute. I thought I didn't know that. So I said, you could have done it into line. But, you know, going down into the room. And I said, wait a minute, back of it. She came in and said, I said, yes, yes, yes. I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And we are free, guys. Believe me, the girl I talked to in the Ukraine, she knows what non-freedom is. She knows what it's like. You know, I'm gonna talk here to Janet and to God. Is there any other women on here? Elaine, how was that birthday the other day, sweetie? Thank you for the message, the thank you message. You didn't need to do that. It was my pleasure to sing to you and wish you a happy birthday. I hope you had a great day. But, you know, the women here, when you work, Jana, you was here. When you worked, if you're still, some of you are retired. If you're not, you should be. But when you worked, was you able to make the same amount of money? Like when I worked in the factory, the women that worked in the factory with us, they made the same thing that we made. It wasn't the men made more, the women made less. In the Ukraine, the men make whatever they want to make, and the women make $400 a month. This girl that I write, she's one of these counselors that she talks to the kids. If the parents are having troubles with the kids also, she'll bring the parents in. And she's, from what I understand, she's very, very good at what she does, and she's been doing it for several years. Amount of years she's been doing it, the same person doing it in a school district here in the state of Illinois would be making about $60,000 a year. She makes $400 a month. Her best friend is a kindergarten teacher. She's been doing it for many, many years. And once again, the same thing. If she was here in the United States doing the same thing with the amount of years of service she's been doing this job, the people and the women and the men in the United States who do this job, a kindergarten teacher, they make about $50,000 to $60,000 a year. She makes $400 a month. Her mother works at a factory. At a factory. She works right next to the guys, and the guys make really good money. She makes $400 a month. I think it's time that guy, that leader, either gets his underwear out of his crack and starts running the country right, or he's out of the country. But I started off wanting to talk about this because when I wrote her last night, and I'm going to cover this in a little bit about Bruce and the big call. Bruce gives some amazing news for this country and for other countries. Actually, Bruce gives some amazing news for the world. And me, when someone says, what is the first thing you want? Ron says the beds. Me and Marianne was agreeing last night the beds, but truthfully, one of the first things I want is for all of these wars to end, because I don't like the fact that someone I have feelings for is afraid to go outside. She walks to work because she can't afford a car. Now, the three women I just mentioned, they all live with the best friends, 2 children, in a 3-bedroom apartment. They live there because, see, at $1,200 in that country, you can live really pretty good. Their kind of prices over there are probably what I would say was in the late 60s or 70s here. So $1,200 a month, you can live pretty decent. It's the fact that three families have to live together just to make ends meet. Why the men go out drinking their vodka and doing whatever they want to do, and they're just terrible to women over there. So for the women here, be proud to be an American, because you are free. And we're going to get more and more freedom. But I want to talk to the kids, and Jimmy and Patriot 11, Karate Kid and Karate Kid, and then there's Wyatt Earp. The Princess, our queen, our softball star, her brother Hunter, who loves to hunt, but also is, when I understand, pretty good in sports. There's Boogie and Bugs and Boogaloo and Boogaroo. There's Leona and Leilon. Did I miss any? I don't think so. Might have. There's the ones that used to be with us, and I miss them kids. I really do. I miss the one little boy saying Patriot 5, Patriot 5. I made 10 people smile today. I did what you do. He made 10 people smile. And then he came on the show and he talked on the phone and he was so happy and he got everybody. I think he had 50 people on the show said, "You're making me smile right now." I miss these kids, but you know what? I just hope they're preparing for what's about to happen, because it's going to happen. Good to see you, Golden Arrow. Hey, Myrna's here. Good to see you, sweetie. I'm trying to catch everybody, but sometimes I miss them. Bill Woods, home from Kentucky. Wow. Why would anybody go to Kentucky? I went to Kentucky when I was a young kid one time. Man, we went to this place over by Kentucky Lake. And when we went to this place, I'm telling you, the people was camping out next to us. Man, I'm telling you, they was bringing in smallmouth and largemouth bass like this. They told us where they was, and they said, "You don't even." I think if you just throw a bear hook out there, they're so running so wild, man. They're hitting anything. And they brought like 5 of them. They was only gone 10 minutes, but they wanted to have that bass for supper. We were getting ready to go, and all of a sudden, my nephew had a seizure. They had to rush him to the emergency room there in Kentucky, and they gave him some medicine and advised us to go home. So we spent the one night, and early the next morning, I never got to go fishing there. I have been through Kentucky. I have stopped there. I have stopped a few times there. It's a nice place, but it's a good place for a general to go. But anyway, going back to the kids, right now, this is say a prayer. Say a prayer for a super gymnast, Patriot super gymnast. She's one of only 2 5th graders that got a part in her school play for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I told her within a year or 2 she'll be the leading lady. Ella Patriot super gymnast is an amazing girl, and I'm not saying it because she's my granddaughter, but practice tonight for 2 hours. Well, actually almost 3 hours. Then they was going to get a little break. They was going to give them some snacks or something to eat. And it's 6 o'clock tonight. They was going to do a performance, a live performance for all the parents. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. Tomorrow in the afternoon, the kindergarten and the grade school from Shabant's, which is they feed in school to the Clifton Junior High. They're all going over there and they're going to do the play again. My daughter is a teacher there, so she's going to get to see it a second time. And then Friday night at 7 o'clock. So, guys, I will not be live Friday night. I'll probably do a Friday afternoon show. But Friday night, she's doing the show again. I asked her, I said, it's complimentary that you get flowers when you do something like this. What kind do you want? I'm thinking, daisies, this time of year, daisies, something like that. She said she wants red. Now she wants pink and she wants white tulips. Now, roses, pink and white roses. Now, I can go to a fancy place that does that's all they do. And I can get 6 pink and 6 white. And I can pay like $79.95. Like Earl Shives, when he used to paint any car for $79.95. Truthfully, he started off at $29.95, painting any car, any shape. Them are the days. How many of you guys remember them commercials? But anyway, or I can go to Walmart, where we've done tests and the flowers actually last longer. And hopefully I can find pink and I can find white together. But if I can't, even if I have to buy a dozen of each and give her 2 dozen, even if I have to do that, they're only $9.99 a dozen at Walmart. So that's what I'm going to do. She'll probably end up with 2 dozen roses.
Well, give some to ELON. I get some to Addison.
Ron says give some to Addison, but no, it's her night. I had thought about being a nice guy and looking at my ex-wife because I know she won't give her any flowers.
It's always Addison's day.
I thought about doing that, but I thought, I could give her a dozen, say give it to her because it'd look better. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll take a vote and see, should I give my ex-wife a dozen to give to her, or should I give her the 2 dozen? What do you guys think? Yes for give, and no, give them yourself. Let's see how many will vote. But anyway, guys, 87 people on here tonight. No, Janet says yes. Well, look at here. You know what? It looks like it's going to be a runaway yes.
For what?
To give her a dozen and have her give her a dozen. I was thinking that way too, but I fly by night. Anyway, guys, let's, continue with the kids because there's Patriots 7. And I have to admit, I was really aggravated with him today. He's a big-time hunter. Well, he's a big-time outdoorsman, and that gets him outside and gets him to do things with his dad. And he's big into that. Hi, Jamie. Golden Arrow One voice. I don't know. I might mention some of his already. That's true, Bill. It's always the count, always the thoughts that count. But Patriots 7, I went out there today and to babysit the little monkey, and he gets these guns. Everybody gives him his guns for Christmas, his birthday. His uncle Brandon, my son, give him a gun. This thing was huge, and it had 300 of these little rubber bullets. Today, as I was walking through the yard, taking the dogs outside, I counted 18 of these rubber bullets just laying out there. Kids today have no common sense with their toys. They have no common sense with money because they know if I lose all the bullets, they'll just buy me more guns or give me more bullets. I looked at him when he come home from school and I said, where are you going? He says, outside. I said, you were sick for 3 days. Don't you think you should stay in? It's starting to change weather. He says, Mom, can I go outside? And she didn't hear me say anything, so she said yes. I said, well, while you're out there, pick up them bullets. I left and they still weren't picked up. This is my grandson. I love him as much as anybody in the world. He's my fishing partner. But they just won't pick anything. Hi, Richard. Patriot Small Hank went to the doctor today and found out he's sick. He's got to take the whole week off of school. And, here's a little boy that he's in the second grade and in kindergarten, preschool, and first grade. He never missed a day of school, just the allotted ones that they give him. And now he's getting a whole week off. And the first 2 days I was home, and to say I spoiled him might be just a little bit of an understatement, but today his dad was getting ready to go. And he thought he was just going shopping, just getting him out of the house because I wasn't there. I was over at my daughter's house with the little monkey. And he looked at his dad and he says, well, if I shouldn't be going running around, going to the stores, he says, why don't you take me down to Uncle Ron's and I'll take a couple of toys and I'll lay on his couch and he'll turn on cartoons for me and I'll just visit Uncle Ron. And Brandon said, that's a great idea. I'm glad that you're open to that. But he says, right now, I got to take you to the doctor. Well, the doctor told him to stay out for the rest of the week. It's only 2 more days. Patriot, little monkey, little Addison, I was with her today. And this kid is just, you never know what's going to come out of her mouth. You really don't. I mean, it's never nothing bad. She's not a bad kid. It's just, she's years above her age level. And then Patriot Kira, she wasn't home tonight when I went down to the house before I come back down here to do the show. And she got home. I was in on my bed laying down with the lights off. Her mom took her upstairs, and small Hank, he yelled upstairs to his mom. And I said something, and Kira heard me say something. Man, she come running down them steps and jumped in my arms. Then she says, come on. Well, I keep her a little candy dish that she'll take me by the hand when she wants a little piece of candy. And I don't give her much, but every now and then I like a piece of candy too. So I figure if I pay for the candy to put in there, they won't say anything for me eating any. So that takes care of our kids tonight. And I just wanted to touch with the kids and let them know our shows are about the kids. Wow, it was just 22 in the minutes. This morning I got up. Hank asked me, he said, can you do me a favor? And I said, what? He wakes me up. Hey, Grandpa Hank, can you do me a favor? I said, what do you need? He said, can you come to the bathroom with me? I said, I'm not going to the bathroom for you. And he started to laugh. We get in there. He says, can you help me get the shower on? My dad wants me to take a shower and get cleaned up, get out of these dirty clothes and that. I said, yeah. So I got the shower ready for him. I walk back, and whenever I get up like that, I always walk a little bit because I try to get 20,000 steps a day. And I'm walking. I walk for about 15 minutes. I get in bed and I said, well, let me take a look at how many steps I got. And my steps that I had at that point was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12,345. And it was funny because I was just talking to Patriot Cindy the other night, and Cindy's walking, and she sent me some stuff where she's had numbers that, are pretty cool that she walked during the day, and she did that. And that's not something you can plan, guys, because when you're using a Fitbit, you can't plan it. It happens. Sometimes it happens, and if you catch it, it's good. So I took a picture of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I sent it to Cindy. She told me that was pretty cool. But last night, I got the pleasure to welcome back Marianne. She was my play-by-play announcer. And I look at it this way. Huck Harrelson, Jack Brickhouse, Harry Carey, eat your hearts out. I got the best announcer in the world in Marianne. Marianne just got back from a amazing cruise, and when Sue was talking, me and her don't get into Sue's talking. We don't care about her golden bundles. We don't care how big her golden bundles are. We just to me, it's a way for them to make money, and for her, it's a way for them to make money. And we're not interested. If we want you guys to have something to go to the redemption centers with, we give it to you free. Elaine took care of that for us. That being said, we talked a lot, and she told me a lot about her cruise and Then she had to come back to the cold, but that's life. At least you had a couple weeks of really nice.
Yeah.
Then Bob comes on, and
3 weeks.
we got joking about when Bob does his show, because Bob sells these products, it's supposed to keep you healthy, strong, vibrant. Well, in the last month, Bob's been sick like 3 or 4 days, hasn't been able to do the show. And I'm thinking, that is not a good testimonial. But Bob's always got to do his testimonials, and then he'll talk about his prostate. And, the one thing I don't want to hear, neither does Marianne, we don't want to hear about Bob, but we joke about it. And I'm telling you, there's nobody better in sending emojis than Marianne. I'm telling you, this lady sends emojis like you wouldn't believe. It's unreal. Then it finally come to Bruce.
Oh.
And Bruce started talking about this country and on these places that all of them was about. The whole country was without power. Was this the start of the total darkness? We didn't know. And then he starts to talking, and I'm hoping in the reading of the Restored Republic tonight that Judy's got a little bit in there so I can actually read what he says. But I'm going to try to tell you what Bruce said. Things are looking good, which I'm not sure if I've ever been on a Bruce show that he hasn't said that. And there was a little controversy on our Telegram channel the other day. Frustration can set in. Frustration can set into, it doesn't matter who it is. It sets into me, it sets into Ron, it probably sets into Golden Arrow and Ian and Richard, Bill Woods, Janet, Myrna. I know it sets into Myrna. I know it sets into Diane and Linda and Marianne and Michael. It just, everyone it sets into. And on our Telegram channel, I give everybody the right to say what they want to say, as long as it's not hurtful to somebody. And one of our Patriots came on, and he told us how the hog ate the cabbage. He told us how he felt. And he worded it perfectly. I mean, it was a great post. But see, then I had to clean up on aisle 5 and 6. So I just went on. I was very polite, very kind. And I said, look, you have your right. That's what we give you here. Freedom of speech. But see, I'm trying my best to keep vibrations up, and you just took them down. Now I got to work harder. So, and I wrote him a very nice message, and I got several compliments that I handled it right. And when I said to the gentleman, I says to him, if you have a day like that, you have my email address, or we can talk here privately. If you need to vent to somebody, vent to me. Send me that same thing in an email and let me have it, and I'll take it. And I'll even use it that, there's people out there. I'll say, I won't mention your name, but I'll say there's people out there that is having doubt. Guys, we've all had doubts. We've all had them. I know I have, but I got Ron to talk to. I mean, I had my daughter to talk to, and then all of a sudden she, I don't know, sat on a spur and got it up her butt. I don't know. She said she wasn't interested no more. We were never going to get nothing. And I thought, wow, 16 years of my life down the drain. I can't even get my daughter to believe in me. But you know what? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me if my daughter believes in me, because when it happens, it's going to be glorious. And one of the things Bruce said should happen, several things. The one thing that really was really exciting to me was, and I think I've already talked about it earlier, was the war in the two countries. That supposedly they've come to an agreement. The paperwork is done. It just needs to be signed. And the presidents will be meeting with our president, and it will be done on Friday. And then Bruce went on, and he was very good with this, because Marianne said it, I said it, Ron said it. This is what we need for the big N and the big G to take off. Now, someone said, well, why would we need that? What do we care about that? Well, see, number one, with the big N and big G, 208 countries have signed it. But there is no wars. There cannot be any wars. So if two countries are at war, at conflict, and there's another place that it looks like they're going to settle that too. And it all coincides with the 4th of March, a week from yesterday, when the hat will be speaking. And he has put it out there. And he is told who has to be there, who has to watch it, who has to pay attention, and who has to know what's going on. If they're not, they will be dealt with. And I don't think you want to be dealt with on this. He is going, and he was very adamant about what he said to mainstream media news. This fact that Congress don't want to go into work, but they want to get paid is over. But see, the 4th is the anniversary, and I don't remember the year. If you guys remember it, I know if Savior was on Myrna, you might know. Someone might know. I want to say it was 1778, the Constitution. Something was signed, and it was on the 4th. March 4th has always been the inauguration. There we go. Read what Russ just said. Under constitutional law, March 4th has always been the inauguration date for all elected presidents until FDR changed it. The hat, I believe, must lay low for another week. Then it's legal. There you go. Thank you, Russ. That is exactly what I was trying to bring out. That's what he's saying. But I think he's going to add a lot more to it. I think instead of the number 47, you're going to see the number 19 come up. And you guys all know what that means. He would be the 19th. Because all the ones after 18 aren't going to ever, they won't be in the history books, guys. Can you imagine the scrambling that's going to have to be done very, very soon with the new books? You know, maybe they're going to try to get through this year because let's face it, we're almost at the end of February. We got March, April, and May, and schools are out in the United States. Maybe we're going to try to get through that. And then I would imagine now they're already starting to create the new books. So you just imagine all summer long when these teachers say you're making, I'm gonna just do something easy math. Say a teacher's making $48,000 a year. He says, I want to be paid every month. So he makes $4,000 a month. He makes $4,000 a month. He gets 10 weeks off. He still gets paid. They say it's not a vacation, but stop and think about it. And I love teachers. Believe me, I got a daughter that I love as much as anybody in this world who is a teacher, a girl that I write in another country who's works for the school board, and her friend is a teacher. I respect teachers, and I believe they're underpaid. And I say that with a smile because, see, they teach 36 weeks a year. That's 100. They work 180 days a year. When I worked in a factory, I worked 260 days a year. Then we might get 8 or 10 off for holidays. So 250. You know, I worked overtime to be able to make extra money. And I have nothing against teachers. But see, what I'm looking forward is to when that teacher is making $48,000 a year and he makes or she makes $4,000 a month. All of it goes into their bank account. None of it goes to them liars, them cheaters, them manipulators. You know who I'm talking about. Because that brings up another story. All of the things that this one man is doing, but he's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. And and he's got a lot of kids. And the guy who hired him has a lot of kids, and they've had a lot of wives. Are they good family people? And I covered this Monday night. They're great family people. They're amazing family people. They take care of their family. Their family comes first. What does it matter? The amount of money you have, the things you're doing. Why is it that we have people whose eyes are so closed, so tightly closed, that they're mad at this man because he just went into the 3-letter agency that starts with an I and ends with an S. He just went in there and found $2.9 trillion worth of money that we have been cheated out of. People getting paid that are 360 years old, over 100 years older than our country, our Constitution. But they're mad because he's doing it because he's a millionaire. And I'm telling you right now, for these same people that are mad, if you take that woman that she become a billionaire because she knew how to shake it. She knew how to put very little on, shake it. And if the crowd wasn't going good, she turned around and she shook it a little more. And don't get me wrong, she's a good performer, but she's a billionaire. And if she was doing the same job right now for an idiot that tried to be what the hat is now, because she sponsored her, and I have questions about that. I think there could be a little bit of cover up there, but that's a story for another show. But if she was to go out to these same people that is cutting this man down, now she doesn't have a lot of kids. She doesn't, but she made her money on her voice, her body, and her bad relationships, because that's what all of her songs are about. She can't even get a good relationship. I don't know if she's got one now. From what I hear, she's engaged to be married to Travis Kelce, but I don't know. I don't care. I like the girl. Honestly, I've heard rumors that, she's not the greatest person in the world. My granddaughter loves her. My niece loves her. I think she's okay. I would rather listen to her music. And this is going to sound shocking coming from a man. I would rather listen to her music than watch her perform, because I don't believe in a woman going out dressing the way she dresses just to get to where she got. I'm not saying she did nasty things to get there, but she uses, I guess you could say she uses her moneymaker that God gave her to get where she's got. I know there's a lot of people in this group that can't stand her, but I'm telling you guys, if she was doing the same job that Elon's doing, the people whose eyes are closed, they would think, oh my goodness, look what she did. She just went out. And she saved us $2.9 trillion. She uncovered that they're paying people that's 100 and 200 and 300 years old. And it's going to special accounts that they found, which for us is going to make it good. Now, I want to ask you another question. If it's 2.9 trillion there's a thing out there called CANCER. We all know about it. We've probably all been touched by it in family members. Some of us may even been touched in it individually. But ask Myrna. Ask Myrna about that sickness. Myrna gave me at least 3 or 4 different ways to help my brother-in-law when he had it. My sister never would let him. She believed in the doctors. Well, I wonder how much she believes in the doctors if she read the article yesterday about the doctor that was fired because she was paid, was it $5.7 million for writing prescriptions to people for them to get. I can't remember what it is. When you get what is it, chemo, you said, Ron?
Yeah.
When you get chemo, she was writing prescriptions. See, I can say this on the show tonight because it's true. It's out there. She was writing prescriptions to people that didn't even have cancer. And she made over $5.7 million. Might have even been more. Guys, there's a lot going on.
We want to congratulate Diane for what you put up on Facebook.
Who? I don't know.
Diane.
Ron wants to congratulate Diane.
Yeah, you put up a thing underneath it.
For what she put under Facebook. I don't remember what it was.
About Epstein's list.
Huh?
Epstein's list.
Oh, it's about that guy's list that they came out with. The Epi guy. And then they also came out with that list for that other guy, that do-wah diddy diddy dum diddy do guy. But, people look at me and they say, Patriot 5, you've never told the truth. Yes, I have. Because, see, I cover myself. I can say I've told the truth because I tell a lot of stories. Where other people who do shows like this, they're just reading everything that's out there. I tell stories, and I can tell you my stories are true. But I'm excited. I really am. Now, we could be getting the money, the extra $7,500 for seniors over 65. But see, this is Bruce's story, and Bruce is sticking to it. Bruce says 65 and older will get $7,500 over 12 months. Bill Woods, Papa G, Myrna, Janet, are you old enough to get that? If not, if you're a few years young, less of it, I can lend you 5 or 6 of my years. I mean, we're going to go back anyway. What's
hell? I'll give her 10.
Ron says he'll give you 10 if you need it. But 65 and older, according to Bruce, is supposed to get $7,500. Now, I've heard also that they went down to 62 because 62 is actually when you can retire. That's when I retired. Then 32 and what was it? 32 and up to 64 will get 5,000. Husband and wife will both get. So that's a bonus. I mean, if you have a husband, I mean, one that I know on here is Patriot Diane with 2 N's and her husband Kurt. And $15,000 a month is going to be really nice for them. Just remember me, Diane, when you get that. Now, $7,500 is going to be enough for me. But see, I've heard, this is what Bruce said, 32 to 64 is going to get this. I've heard that they wanted you, Bruce says they want you to work at least 10 years before they start giving it to you. I've heard that you're going to get 5,000 from 61 down to 40, and then 25 to 39 is going to get 3,500. That opens up, that still gives people a chance. Guys, this money here has nothing to do with the R&R. It has nothing to do with revaluation. It has nothing to do with the raise that the senior citizens are supposed to get. Now, as a senior citizen, hey, Bobo, as a senior citizen, Myrna, would it not be nice? Because I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Myrna's in her 60s or her 40s. But Myrna, wouldn't it be nice to get $7,500 and then get that raise up to 5,000 or even 4,000 for Social Security? Boy, people could get, and see, guys, I believe this has to happen. This money that Elon just found, I believe it has to happen before we're going to get our 800 numbers. And people go, well, I don't know. Now, the reason I say this, and me and Ron's been saying this for a long, long time, it gives us security and safety. I go to the redemption center. Okay, I'm going to use my brother Russ and his wife. I'm going to use my sister, and I'm going to use people I know. My brother Russ and his wife, my sister, cousins of mine, Dennis and Danny, my next door neighbor, Cassandra, Rodney and Kathy. Now, if these guys all get money, Rodney and Kathy's a couple, they're married. Danny and Joni's a couple, they're married. They're both over 62. Rodney and Kathy are both over 62. If they get $15,000 a month to split together, if these people, even if you're single, like Dennis is single, he gets $7,500. But all of a sudden, Ralph and Ron, we each get $7,500. But I go to the redemption center, and now all of a sudden, maybe I buy a new house, or I buy a new car, or something. I buy something more expensive than $7,500. People don't, what? All I got to say is, guys, I know I got $7,500 coming for 12 months. Why can't I afford this car? It wouldn't be brand new, but it might be something that costs $20,000 that right now I couldn't afford. And see, it gives us security, because people ain't going to be saying, well, Ralph went and did this. Ralph did $6,000, $7,000 fixing up on his house. Ron did this, Myrna did this. We don't have to worry about that. And that gives us the security to go where people's not going to be looking at us. People who might be thinking about, well, I know a little bit about this revaluation. I'm going to keep, I'm going to find out where these centers are. And I might be thinking about checking some people out as they're leaving. No, they won't do it now because they got their own money. You're going to get the people off the streets. You're going to get people into hotels until they can find an apartment or get their own home. Because let's face it, and I don't mean this, a homeless person that now all of a sudden has $7,500 or $5,000. You can live in an apartment for a long time, maybe long enough to where that apartment goes to them 50 prices again, where that apartment that might cost $800 now all of a sudden is only going to cost this. For someone like that, if they can just get a hotel room, it doesn't even have to be a great hotel, but maybe it's got a little kitchen in the room, and it's got the bathroom, and it's got the bed in it, place for a TV, because they'll pay for the TV, So they get the electric pay to get all this, and they might have to pay $100 a day. They've got the money to do it, and I don't think you would have to do that, because I think people, if they could put 20 people in a hotel and knew they were going to stay there every day, I think they'd be more. There's some hotels out there that would jump at this. So let's see what Judy has to say. A lot of this stuff, guys, is just my ideas, but I really believe yep, Justin, I can relate to that. Where he said he's worked full-time since 17, 30, going on 31 years. I started being a paper boy when I was 6. I worked in chicken coops, chicken houses, hen houses, whatever you want to call them. Back when they laid eggs. They don't lay eggs no more. If they do, they're golden ones. I worked there. I did tousled corn. I walked beans. I shelled corn.
Hay.
I never did bale any hay. Someone looked at me and said, hey, and I'd take off running. No, I understand. Until I turned 18, and then I graduated, and I wanted a summer off. So I was the gate guard at our sportsman's club. I was a gate guard down there for the summer, and then afterwards I got a job, and I worked there for 30 years. I wasn't old enough to retire when they closed the plant down, so I had to get a job as a driver for the Kankakee Journal, the same place I got my first job as a paper boy. And they give me a special name that's what I was, that's what I did. But it wasn't. I was a glorified paper boy, and I didn't care. I mean, I was taking papers into stores. I was taking papers into gas stations. I was delivering papers to schools. And I was making $550 cash a week. But on the books, it showed that I was making maybe $250. So I was only at the end of the year paying taxes, but I had so many write-offs that I usually, just with my write-offs, the little taxes I paid, I usually got everything back. But $550 cash, that was really good money because, it was 9 years ago that I finally had to retire at 62 when a car hit me at 90 miles an hour. That was one of the 7 times that the doctors told me, medically speaking, you should be dead. So let's see what we can pull up here real quick before we call it a night. I like this. Patriots stand together. Here's a Simpsons little picture. RIP 1936 to 2025. Pope Francis. I hope you don't get too overly cooked. Now, you guys think I was going a different direction, but I heard he was being cremated. You're not going to wake up anybody anymore. We're basically at the end of the game. There are things that are about to start happening everywhere that's going to freak the crap out of people. Back away from trying to wake them up. They're comfortably asleep. They're where they want to be. And unfortunate as it is, when the crap does hit the fan, they're going to look around and say, why didn't someone tell us something about this? And I'm trying to think who posted that on my Facebook page. But I said, I got to read that. Because right there is perfect example of what's going on. Let's see what Restored Republic has to say. A lot of it I probably covered already. Restored Republic of the 26th of 2025. Compiled by Judy Bidington, But before I go into that, guys, I got to talk about a story. You know me and my stories. But this is one I really want to relate to you guys because this is one that bothers the living bejesus out of me. And there was a video on the internet yesterday or the day before, and this young kid was going to wrestle. And he was in the finals of this wrestling tournament. And not only did he want to win his gold medal, but he also wanted to help his team win a gold medal. And all of a sudden, this cute little girl comes out. Cute little girls that are 16 years old and starting to turn into not cute little girls, but cute little women. And he looked and he said, I'm not going to wrestle this girl. And he said, well, if you don't wrestle, you have to forfeit. And his teammates are over there. You can beat her. He says, I'm not worried about beating her. If she beats me, she deserves to beat me. But she doesn't belong here. This is a boys' sport, not a girls'. Well, they don't offer that in our school. It doesn't matter, he says. His coach convinced him to wrestle. He did. He won the match. But if you guys have ever wrestled, sometimes when you start reaching for somebody or doing some things, hands may go in spots that they shouldn't go into, right? Now, if I'm wrestling a guy and my hand goes here, the guy don't say nothing. If my hand goes kind of between another spot, the guy might say, hey, buddy, because you might lose your belt. You don't know what's going to happen, why it would happen like this. But you touch places you shouldn't on the opponent. And he did in both spots. He won the match, and afterwards, he had tears in his eyes. And they asked him what's wrong. He said, that's why I didn't want to wrestle. He went up and he apologized to the girl. He apologized. He said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. It just happened. She understood, but he was heartbroken because of what happened. He should have never been put in that position. I understand they don't offer wrestling. I understand that girl deserves the chance to wrestle, but not when it's something like that. She declared herself as a girl. But see, here's what upsets me the most about this whole thing. They offered another sport in her school instead of wrestling. No, I want to wrestle. And they allowed her to do it. There was a kid in that school at that weight class that lost his position to this girl. And from what I understand, she was a tremendous wrestler. But the point is, he lost his position. He wasn't allowed to go play in a girl sports. You know why? Because he's a guy, and guys can't play in girl sports. But why the hell can girls play in guys? And I'm not trying to say this stuff. In the Olympics, when that one little girl, she trained in boxing. And then this big guy that declared himself a woman, she had to box him in one punch, and she may never box again. Something like that you cannot let happen. And Mr. Hat, please do never let this happen again. But then again, think about the guys too, because we have feelings. Some guys would have said, I don't care where I grab her. It doesn't matter. She wants to be a boy. Let her get on the mat with me. But this kid had morals. He was raised the right way. And isn't that what we're trying to do in the United States of America? Isn't that why we're patriots? Isn't that why the kids mean so much to us, is to raise them the right way? And then he had to go against the right way. Anyway, Republic of the United States of America, GCR, the works, Epstein files open, names real, arrest coming. Arrest coming. How many times are they going to tell us arrests are coming? My God, they've had these lists for years. If the arrest ain't done now, FBI destroying files, trying to cover it up. Now, here's another thing. The three-letter agency that I just mentioned, they just hired 2 people to work for this agency. I said to Linda when I was writing her the other day, she asked me, what do you think about this hiring of the last one? And I think he has great knowledge. I think he's a great guy. But I've always thought he was an arrogant SOB. He thinks he's better than everybody. But my main question here about his hiring and even Cash hiring, if we're getting rid of the 3-letter agencies, why are we hiring these people? Why are we giving them money from taxpayers, and there's not even going to be a position? And I probably am overlooking something there. So anybody wants to send me a message and tell me why we're doing it, I'd appreciate it. Judy really don't have nothing. A lot of stuff about singing songs and
the listening one was good, but
Ron says the listening one's good, but boy, the reading one. Let me get down here. She's got poetry in here. She got songs in here. What we think we know as a February 2025 3-letter agency, starting with an F and ending with an I, destroying the evidence. I just talked about that. The World Economic Forum is trying to implement an artificial sun, and there is evidence that the 4-letter agency that they said we went to the moon has it, patented it. it. Yeah, they just don't. There's nothing here. Wanted to see possible timing. In 1933, the U.S. declared bankruptcy and pledged every citizen as collateral to back its debt. Gold was confiscated, debt-based money was introduced, and you became an economic asset. In 2016, it was confirmed by the military would be in charge of transitions from the privately owned by private bankers, U.S. INC, to the Republic of the United States of America through passage of the Military Justice Act of 2016, which states military law suppresses civilian, presidential, and commander-in-chief are separate. Military rules above federal government. The military leads the transition. In 2020, President the Hat had 650 plane loads of U.S. taxers owned gold removed from the VAT. We all knew that. That's just old news, old news, old news. There isn't much. And I've already talked to you about Bruce, guys, so we're at an hour. I'm sorry it went so long. I got on a roll and couldn't get off of it. But I do want to let you know, guys, I will announce sometime tomorrow or early Friday morning what time we'll do the show in the afternoon. As I said, I have my granddaughter's play to go to Thursday night, so say a prayer. Friday night, so say a prayer for her, because as it getting closer, I think doing tonight is going to be big for her, because it's gonna get her to do it in front of live audience. And by the time that she does it Friday night in front of me, she should be ready to go. And I do thank everyone for standing up and telling me what I should do. If I have to buy 2 dozens, it means a lot to me that you guys, you let me know. And that being said, dear Lord, as we come to the end of tonight's show, I had a lot of fun tonight, Lord, but still we need your help. We need you to look after all of us. There's people, Lord, that need your help, the children, and especially, Lord, let us not rest until we save every child and have every child a home with loving parents or some kind of family. Lord, look after all of the people here that's in dire need of your help, and all the people all over the world. Lord, we come to you and pray to you to take care of the animals and everyone that you've created. I know it's a tough job, but you and only you can do it. And we will work with you and help you throughout the rest of our lives as we come to you tonight on this show through this family and pray to you through our Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. Good night, everyone. Love yous all.